in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins. Welcome to the Black Financial Channel. That's theblackfinancialchannel.com. I wanted to give you guys an update and a briefing on what's happening in the stock market. Today is June 9th, 2020, and the market is pulling back a little bit. A lot of the money that was made this week has disappeared, and but it's not disappeared completely. The drop is not nearly of the same magnitude as the rise. So a lot of you who made big money last week and the week before and the week before that, it looks like it was still a good move for you. Now, one of the biggest things that people are debating right now is whether or not the market is going to plummet again. What's fascinating is that Robinhood, which has one of the most popular investment apps that's out there, is basically saying that a lot of the young people and the millennials on Robinhood actually made money when the market took off in a way where a lot of billionaires missed. A lot of billionaires and hedge fund managers missed the recent rocket of the market because they thought that the market was going to drop. They felt that the market was overvalued. They think that the recovery, the economic recovery, is overpriced in the market, and that the stock market has gotten a little bit too optimistic. That's not an unreasonable belief. It's not. There's a lot of questions about this economic recovery, a lot of uncertainty. One of the things that's really still a big puzzle for a lot of people is this jobs report. Last week, the big mover, the big thing that caused you guys to make so much money if you are an investor, and most of you are investors if you're watching my channel. If you're not an investor, I need you to invest. The big factor that moved your portfolio was the jobs report. America was expected to lose another 8 million jobs ever since people decided for some reason, which was a harebrained idea, to shut down the entire economy over COVID when they could have managed it and just kept things going, but still just controlled the virus. But instead they shut everything down. So 40 million people were out of work. So they're expecting another 8 million jobs to be lost. And instead of losing 8 million jobs, they actually gained 2.5 million jobs. So a lot of people are scrambling to figure out if this was just a big mistake or something. But if it wasn't a mistake, it really just speaks to the fact that you're dealing with your knowns, your unknowns, and your unknown unknowns. That the information that people have is just so crazy, so uncertain that nobody knows what the economy is going to look like after this is done. I invested consistently all through the drop and even after the rise, and I'm going to just do that consistently because I believe that a lot of the fundamentals of the American economy are going to be there. And also because I'm thinking 5-10 years down the line. I'm not thinking, how am I going to make money by Tuesday? I'm thinking, will my kids have money in the year 2030? So that's how I think. That's how I invest. That's why even if, things crash, it doesn't bother me that much, because you just consistently invest, and that's how people build wealth. So on Robinhood, what's interesting is that there's a story about a guy who flipped his he flipped his sister's stimulus check and turned it into $10,000. So he took the $1,200, turned it into $10,000. That was pretty interesting. And so they mentioned here a 26-year-old Robinhood trader who made $1,500 in less than 24 hours by buying into a lot of the airline stocks. And I made a lot of money on airline stocks because I felt that the airline stocks had been beaten up really bad to the point where they were significantly undervalued. I do believe that people are going to start flying and taking cruises again. I really do. And so, when I see a company like a Royal Caribbean, that maybe was priced at, I don't know, let's say it was $70 a year ago. I don't know what it is. I got to go look up Royal Caribbean. And now it's priced at, 25 or 30. I don't see any reason why you can't consider 50, 60, 70 to be reasonable price expectations on a stock like that. There's nothing that's changed about Royal Caribbean in terms of the management structure, the assets that they own, the way they do business. The only thing that's a question is whether or not the market is going to return. And so, with Royal Caribbean, for example, among others, A lot of the customers that were going to take cruises before us are still going to take cruises eventually. And what Royal Caribbean did, and this is just one company in particular, is they didn't actually have to give refunds. I had a Royal Caribbean cruise scheduled for my honeymoon, and we didn't get a refund. We didn't even want a refund. We wanted to take the cruise. We wanted to go. We just wanted to be safe. So what they said was, look, let us clean this up. Let us fix this. And how about we give you a 125% credit on a future cruise? And so we were like, oh, great, bet, like that's awesome. Like, yeah, let's do it, right? So when they gave the credit, they didn't lose any money, right? And we got our cruise, and we're still going. We're not afraid to go, right? So that to me is the story of a lot of this. I don't think people are going to stop flying and stuff like that. So I think that the millennials on the Robinhood app might have seen something the billionaires didn't see. But it's more of a fast money sort of thing, right? So here's what else they said here. They said there's a guy named Godbolt who says, I just started taking it seriously about 2 months ago, and I've been watching American Airlines since the beginning of that time, and I felt eventually once COVID relaxed, markets would move up, which was a good assumption. And that's where he's the guy that flipped his sister's stimulus check into $10,000. Robinhood traders live up to their outlaw name during the coronavirus market downturn. The young investors booked profits trading stocks with some of the best returns in the past 2 months, while other Wall Street veterans were left scratching their heads. There's nothing like momentum begetting momentum, Tim Welsh, founder and CEO of wealth management consulting firm Nexus Strategy, told CNBC. The aspect of just access is really driving a lot of this. And the whole upward tick in the markets, again, just fuels demand. So what he says is that thank you for telling me where Royal Caribbean is. Trust I didn't know where. I don't know where it was a year ago. I said 70. That I pulled that number literally out of the air. Maybe it was 120. I'm willing to bet you that Royal Caribbean was worth more a year ago or 6 months ago than it is right now. And that's my key point. That's what I mean. And so that's interesting, right? So what they're kind of arguing here, and this is fascinating. It makes me, I spent 10 years just doing nothing but academic research on stuff and writing research papers. I don't do that anymore. I just like to teach black people. But if I were still in the lab doing research, I would research this. How much is this additional stock market participation through apps like Robinhood changing the dynamics of what stock prices respond to? I wrote my dissertation on what they call momentum trading, which is, when stocks are moving up, are there things that cause it to keep going up? And then also, are there reversals? Meaning if they go down, can you expect them to come up? And there's a lot of evidence to say that trading on reversals alone is a great way to go, especially upward. Meaning, when there's a crash, you buy more stock when the market crashes, and you make higher returns. I've always believed that to be the case, and that's how I've always traded. But there's also that momentum thing that says, look, if I go out and a million people see that American Airlines returned 100% last week, which it literally did. I didn't realize this, but I went into my portfolio and saw that I made 100% return on my American Airlines stock, meaning the price doubled in a week or something, or maybe it was 2 weeks. And I talk about that. Does that cause other people to say, ooh, I want to buy into that? Right? Or if the price drops a little, because usually when things go up, they kind of go down a little bit. There's a little cooling off period because people do what they call profit taking. They start selling because they're ready to get out and stuff like that. So when that little dip occurs, are people going to come back in and start buying because they're like, oh, it's cheap again. I want to buy it. I don't want to miss out. So I don't know. This morning I ordered some coffee through Uber Eats, and so I had it delivered to the hotel because the hotel didn't have any room service or restaurants open or anything. And in fact, I think Embassy Suites is ripping people off right now because all they've got is just the room, no maid service, no food, no nothing, just the room. But they're charging the same price, by the way. And so anyway, so the brother that delivered my coffee happens to follow the channel, and he said, me and my boys were sitting around talking about investing, and he said it was great, brothers sitting around talking about investing instead of talking about girls and cars and shoes. And I said, yeah, that's great, man, I'm really proud of you. And he told me